to identify a practice area in which to qualify and an area of law in which you're going to specialise is a really daunting task, and this is particularly so because you've probably only had 4 or 6 months as a seat during your training contract to experience that area of law, if that's what you're thinking about. But there are an enormous range of things that you should be considering when you're making this decision, and try to block out all of the other external pressures that might be worrying you. 5 things that I would recommend. The first one is on a basic level. What do you enjoy? What is interesting? What makes your days fly past? Second one is progression opportunities. How quickly can you be promoted? What does the path of your career look like in that particular area of the law? One of the key things that I always recommend people think about is my third point, which is secondment opportunities. And one of the best ways to be very good in your area, and particularly to get to the heart of the business of your law firm, is to get under the skin of your clients. And one of the best ways to do that is to go on secondment and see it firsthand for yourself. So what client secondment opportunities are there in the particular area of the law that you're thinking about? The fourth thing is what types of firm do the type of work that you want to do. Now, it might well be that the firm you've been doing your training contract with is the firm that you want to qualify into. However, it might be that you're looking further afield, and it's worth thinking about the types of law firms. Are they enormous city firms? Are they smaller regional firms? Do they have international practices? What type of firm does the type of work that you want to do? And is that sort of firm the place where you will want to be working, not just now, but in many, many years' time? And the fifth element that I always think about is international work, and how much of an international element do you want to your work? Do you want to be working with lots of multinationals? Do you want travel opportunities, or are you happier with more domestic focused work? So again, something else to think about. And one of the best ways to start to think about when you're making your decision is to have a look at the associate solicitors who are a few more years qualified than you in that practice area. Think about what work they're doing, what their days look like, what their path looks like, because that's what yours will look like as well, most probably. And so it's worthwhile thinking, is that what I want to be doing? Is that what I want to look like? However, many people do find themselves qualifying into a seat or a practice area that they thought that they really, really liked, but then as it transpires, they want to change, or it isn't what they thought it was going to be. And that's absolutely fine. Don't panic. It happens to lots of people. It happened to me. The key thing to do is to talk to people. So I would find somebody either within your firm or externally that you can talk to confidentially about how you're feeling, the reason why you're feeling the way you are about the current practice area you're in, and why you think you may now want to go to a different practice area instead. Somebody who you can speak to confidentially, and ideally who is a bit more senior than you, will probably be able to give you really good advice and may be able to help you bridge the conversations that you'll need to have with other firms or with your own firm when you're thinking about changing areas. And obviously you'll want to get up to speed with what's going on in a new practice area if that's what you're moving to. So it goes without saying that it's really helpful to get in touch with other people who are doing that practice area. Have a look online at all of the resources that are already available out there, all of the online legal services and legal practice notes and whatnot. They're all out there readily available to you, and they're great introductions to all the different types of law that you can do, so do have a look at those. But all of this actually feeds into one of my top pieces of advice for when you're doing training contracts, which is, and I'm sure you will do anyway, make sure you are always performing your best in every seat, in every practice area, because even if it's a seat that you really don't like and you are sure that you don't want to qualify into, you still should be performing at your best for 3 key reasons. First is that everybody in a law firm and outside of a law firm talks. So if you're not performing at your best in one area, the people around you who see that will be talking to the other people in practice areas where you might want to qualify or do work with. The second is that you actually don't know how you feel later, and so you might well go into a seat thinking, I'm definitely not going to qualify here, but you may later decide that you've totally changed your mind and you've had an epiphany, in which case it's helpful if you've already set a very good impression. And the third reason is because even if that's a seat that you're not going to practice in, some of the best sources of work in your firm will come from other teams within the firm. And so the people who you're working for when you're doing your training contract will be people who quite possibly will be sending you work or picking up the phone to ask you a question when you're in another team doing a different area. So my top tips are, make sure you're doing every seat to the best of your ability with your eyes wide open, and don't panic if you find yourself qualifying into a practice area that you're not quite sure is what you initially felt you wanted to do.